So starting out, after I wrote the first book, I was like, okay, I want to publish this the traditional way. Let me reach out to an agent or a publisher or whatnot. I sent it out to over 250 different agents and publishers. All of them got rejected.
Purpose driven living, that's the motto. Purpose driven living, boy, that's the motto. If God orders my steps, then I'ma follow. We just steward the gifts that we borrow. Purpose driven.
And I wanna ask a question in regards to that vision, and at the point where where this wasn't just an outlet anymore for you. You actually pulled the trigger. So for me, Shelton, you know this about me. I'm a rapper. I love producing as well. I really enjoy it, but for the longest time,
You're a good rapper.
It was just me. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
It was just me. So there was this level of there's always going to be this level of insecurity, like who's actually going to like this. And I think what I'm learning more and more about creatives is that a lot of folks have similar struggles. The individual I interviewed last week, Alex the Great, her personalities was one in which where she's always been a poet, but she has never been sort of shy about getting out in front of people. Well, not everybody has that sort of personality. So the question that I'm sort of asking in regards to pulling the trigger, putting your books out there, and we'll talk more about your films, where at in the timeline for you where you were writing, you said, hey, I wanna put this out here to the world, like what sort of was that process, maybe some of the challenges, what did that look like for you to put your work out there?
Hey, what's going on, family? Do not forget to check out the music that inspired the movement, PDL. This project is by yours truly, Quintrell Lenore. It's streaming on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, you name it, go check it out. This project was produced by Dilly Got It Bumpin'. It's awesome music to help you guys stay motivated and to worship in this season.
I was very much not wanting to be in the limelight. I shoot, to be honest with you, I'm still kind of that way, but I've learned so much since then that I kind of feel like I have to be that. I have to be in the limelight. And I can explain more of that as we talk more about the films and some of the things that transpired to make me believe that.
Yeah.
But so starting out, after I wrote the first book, I was like, okay, I want to publish this the traditional way. Let me reach out to an agent or a publisher or whatnot. I sent it out to over 250 different agents and publishers. All of them got rejected. And I was like, okay, and you know, like what's my options? Then I learned about self-publishing, and so that's when I said, okay, all right, let me look into self-publishing and whatnot. And I knew, because my stories primarily dealt with African American comedies. If you go on Amazon right now, you look up African American comedy novels, you're not going to see a lot of them. So I was like, okay, let me see, what can I do? So I went self-publisher route, found a cover artist, and you look at the cover of my books, you see immediately, I wanted to have real art. I didn't want, a lot of times when you see Black novels, African American novels by African American people, a lot of times they would have, especially the self-published ones, would have just like a photograph or something like that. I wanted it to be, when you picked up my novel, you had a real piece of artwork in your hands. So I had a real artist make out my cover, and I was like, I wanted it to be a cover where as soon as people saw it, and when I say people, my target audience was African Americans, and that's actually one of the reasons, a small part of the reason too that made me choose the story that I chose to write, is because choose to publish it, I should say rather, is because when I went through Barnes and Noble, me and my wife were going to read a book together, and I'm looking for a book that looks interesting to me. I don't see any books that really appeal to Black men.
Yeah.
You know, because I guess it would not be smart to publish a book that appeals to Black men when everybody has heard the stigma Black men don't read, which I don't agree with. I know a lot of Black men who do read, but I ain't get into that. But I'm looking, I'm like, you know what? As soon as, when I make my book, I want it to be, as soon as somebody picks it up, especially a Black man, he gonna know this book is for me. Yeah. You know, you look at the cover, Thank for My Family, the book, you know immediately, like, okay, that's the guy on the cover who you gonna go and talk to at the cookout. For sure, like because you know he gonna have something funny to say about every minute or so. Right. So and that's what it was. You know, I just wanted it to be something lighthearted, something real, something that Black men could read and relate to. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I feel like most Black men and the funny part is, my audience is primarily, for my books, primarily, and my movie, Black men. And a lot of them say, man, the reason I don't read is because I don't see no books that really, really are for me that I can really relate to like that,
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
Hey family, it's your boy Quintrell Lenore here with brand new merch to keep you guys looking good this season. We have long sleeve, short sleeve, as well as hoodies. Check us out at gumroad.com/PDL apparel. We got all the swag you need to stay covered in purpose.
Now that's powerful, man. And I guess what I'm sort of picking up behind any creative or business person is, you've done extensive research, but it sounds like throughout this process you were finding your why, and you found that fairly early on, where you were super serving. Your niche was African American male readers,
Right.
so it was easy for you to get over the hump, if there was one, to putting your stuff out there, to put your foot forward. Because obviously you've experienced rejection. You said over 200. You sent over 200 solicitations for publishers.
Right.
For anybody else, those 200 solicitations, I would have chalked it up, Shelton. This ain't for me. I'm gonna just send these books to my folks. But I think it goes to the point that you made here. It's like finding your why, and the no matter the rejection that you experience, you were still able to be propelled forward. So that's helpful. And to the point that you made, I would never say that I'm been an avid reader. I think 2020 has kind of opened up my eyes to think about how am I spending my time. And so you kind of referenced this early on. As a business person, as a professional, and probably more importantly, as a family man, you don't got a lot of time. So the time that you are spending, you're spending it strategically. And I think for me now, I find that when I have one of my buddies, book Vad Lee, Purpose Over Position. So I'm going through that. Barack Obama has a book that's phenomenal. So stuff that obviously I'm not an avid reader, but when I see folks that look like me, that have the same sort of vision, I'm more likely to gravitate towards. So I do think that your sort of motivation behind it is phenomenal, man.
Thank you.
I want to touch on this, man. Sheldon, you're funny, man. You're funny. And if I hope that the audience out there go to your Instagram, you have these phenomenal skits, bro, and back me up. First off, I want to say, like, it's funny, but it's also strategic in terms of branding and marketing. Not just your books, but your overall lineup of your work, your films, and everything. How did that come about? Like, at what point did you say, all right, I'm gonna start doing these skits, man?
Man, dude. So I'm always cracking jokes. I'm always laughing. But like I said, I'm the type of person who I speak to anybody, I carry conversation with anybody. If you have a conversation with me, more than likely I'll say something to make you laugh. However, like when it comes to meeting new people and having conversations, sometimes I would have jokes in my head that I knew I couldn't necessarily say because, it might offend somebody, or they possibly wouldn't get it because the moment is past or whatever. So I was like, I had it started. I started an account for my books and whatnot, and I hired a publicist to help promote the book, and she was like, you should probably do something like some skits or something, let people, how well are you known in the comedy world? And I was like, well, I ain't known at all. I was like, and so I was like, but I got some skits I did. So I looked on, I didn't even know what a skit was, man. Just to show you how little I knew, man. Like, so I went online, I looked up their skits, and I saw what people were doing, making these little funny videos and stuff. I was like, okay, all right. And some people had some funny stuff, and a lot of guys out there still making some funny stuff. So I ain't gonna discredit nobody. There was some unfunny ones though, but but that's the thing. Patrice O'Neal said, he's a comedian, he passed away, he's really funny. But he said the funny jokes and the bad jokes, they all come out of the same bag. And I agree with him 100%. The way you get to having consistently good jokes is by continuing to work at it. And you got to filter over time. You'll start to filter out all those bad jokes because your comedic muscle, it's a muscle, your comedic muscle will get stronger. So it's just how it works. But so like now I can hear something and I can tell you whether or not, like I think of ideas now and I know right away whether people will find it funny or not. So I'll say that's really how I got into making the skits. And is I've always, you know, just I've always had funny ideas. It's just now I work at really toning them and tightening them up to be presented to an audience.
For
So
sure.
I prefer that. I like watching comedies. Comedy's my favorite genre of movie. Between comedies and actions, it's probably why I like writing action comedies. So, but that's how I got into it, man. You know, like you said, you remember me from the locker room when we played ball together, man. I always was cracking jokes and stuff, man. So that's just always been my personality.
That's very true.
I don't think I can shut that off.
Yeah.
Hi, at Lenore Coaching, we work with a wide variety of job seekers, including students, early career professionals, and experienced professionals, with services including job search strategy, career exploration, personal branding, networking, interview preparation, as well as resume and cover letter writing. So you guys can contact us first by reaching out to our website, which is www.lenorecoaching.com.
You can also contact us via social media. We have Instagram and Facebook pages, Lenore Coaching LLC.
What I appreciate, Shelton, is like is naturally somebody like myself is much more like critical and conventional in their processes for I'm talking more on the marketing side. I'm much more critical, and it becomes sort of a slow process for me to like, all right, create the art and then how I'm going to brand it and market it. But for you, it sounds like obviously you're taking your time to create content, but it sounds like you're doing what is sort of in alignment with who you are naturally, right? You gravitate towards being a funny guy. And so for you, you know, you took that feedback from your publisher about, you know, promoting your book, and she recommended the skits. And so you've leveraged on that because that was a natural part of your personality. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is for those that might be watching, figuring out, all right, this is what I do, whether I'm a writer, an athlete, if I'm a rapper, whatever my thing might be, I want to obviously make this craft, and then marketing it to put it out for people to go and to listen to it, is doing something that's more congruent to what your personality is kind of a thing that I picked up about your story there. So
Right.
That's big ups.
Purpose driven living, that's the motto. Purpose driven living, boy, that's the motto. If God orders my steps, then I'ma follow. We just steward the gifts that we borrow. Purpose driven.